Breaking news, y'all. According to Ring Magazine, Sebastian Fundora and Keith One-Time Thurman have a deal in place to meet for Fundora's WBC junior middleweight title on October 25th at Las Vegas' MGM Grand, a source told Mike Coppinger, who is a very solid boxing source. The fight will headline a PBC on Prime pay-per-view. Thurman, 36, will look to become a two-division champion. Listen, man, I love this fight. I know a lot of people are writing Keith Thurman off. And listen, it's totally understandable. Keith Thurman has fought one time within the last 3 years. And before he fought Barrios, he didn't fight for 3 years, right? So I totally get anybody being pissed off that Keith Thurman is getting a title shot because he's only had one fight at 154. He fought Brock Jarvis, who I don't even think he was a highly ranked opponent in the 154 division weight class. But he knocked him out. He looked good. And I think that Keith Thurman is going to be Sebastian Fundora's toughest test. When Keith Thurman was supposed to fight Tim Tszyu, I was going for Keith Thurman. You know, ultimately, Keith Thurman pulled out a week before the fight because he had some type of injury that he had to get surgery on. You know what I'm saying? So as long as Keith Thurman can actually make it to the fight, because let's be honest, guys, we've seen Keith Thurman's history. He has had a history of a plethora of injuries. He's known to pull out before fights due to injuries. So I'm going to be honest with y'all, bruh. Don't be surprised if this fight doesn't even happen. I'm not going to believe it's going to happen until Keith Thurman actually steps inside the ring. You dig what I'm saying? But listen, man. This is going to be a tough fight for Keith Thurman. Sebastian Fundora is the towering inferno. He's 6'6". Keith Thurman is only 5'7". So Sebastian Fundora, you know, he's gonna look like a fucking giant in this ring with Keith Thurman, just like he did when he fought Tim Tszyu. And what we have seen is every fight recently from Sebastian Fundora, he has gotten better and better and better. Since he suffered that knockout against Brian Mendoza, Sebastian Fundora has stepped his game up, man. Had a very controversial close fight with Tim Tszyu the first time they fought. A lot of people blame that cut that Tim Tszyu suffered on his forehead for the reason why he lost, because he had blood in his eyes. And then he came back and rematched the guy and made him quit in the corner. You dig what I'm saying? Sebastian Fundora also had a tough fight with Erickson Lubin, and the referee pretty much stopped the fight because Erickson Lubin, his face looked like he got ran over by a car. You dig what I'm saying? So this ain't gonna be no walk in the park for Keith Thurman, and this is going to be the test to see, does Keith Thurman still have it, right? Is Keith Thurman just fighting right now because he's in the last chapter of his career? He's close to 40. He's been extremely inactive. Is he fighting right now because he needs money, right? Maybe the money's gotten low. Keith Thurman has a wife. He has 2 kids. He has a family to take care of. We know that he's had some big paydays in the past. Obviously, he fought Sean Porter, beat him. Fought Danny Garcia, beat him. Had a close fight with Manny Pacquiao. He lost a split decision. So he's had some big paydays. But what we know about these boxers is they tend to live a very expensive lifestyle. And as years go by, the money gets low. Listen, Floyd Mayweather, who has damn near made $1 billion in the sport of boxing, you know, we've seen Floyd Mayweather have money issues that has forced him to have to come back to boxing and fight again, right? Look at Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was 46 years old, and he just came back and fought Mario Barrios. And Manny Pacquiao has said that he will be fighting for a second time this year in December. So, you know, does Manny Pacquiao just love boxing that he just can't give it up? Or does he need money, right? I think Keith Thurman's situation is, I 100% think that Keith Thurman needs the money. And I also feel like he has something to prove. I think he's seen all of the criticism that he's gotten these past couple of years due to inactivity. And I think that Keith Thurman is out to prove a point and to show to the world how great he is. Because, you know, listen, when he unified that 147-pound division, he was by far the best boxer at 147. I do think that he ducked Errol the True Spence Jr. I totally get why Errol Spence decided to fight Terrence Crawford instead of Keith, because Keith was holding those belts hostage. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to give Errol Spence an opportunity to unify the division, so Errol Spence said, fuck him. Now, I want to give you guys a scenario, right? This is how crazy, like, life is, right? Like, you always hear how things tend to come around full circle. Can you guys imagine if Keith Thurman at 36 beats a 6'6", 27-year-old Sebastian Fundora, and then he fights Errol the True Spence Jr. at 154 for that belt, right? Now, I know it sounds crazy because Errol Spence hasn't fought in 2 years, but Errol Spence has yet to come out and say that he's retired. You know, he said that he's coming back. He said that he's coming back on his terms. But remember, a lot of people forget this. After Sebastian Fundora beat Tim Tszyu the first time, Errol Spence walked into the ring and had a face-off with Fundora, and that was supposed to be the next fight. Now, the reason why the fight ultimately didn't happen is because Errol Spence was, he was stalling, right? He doesn't have a trainer, right? He obviously is no longer with his trainer, Derek James. Derek James filed a lawsuit on Errol Spence. Errol Spence filed a counter lawsuit. So we don't even know who Errol Spence's trainer is. He is in the gym. He has posted clips, working out and, doing this thing in the gym. But the reason why that fight didn't happen is because of Errol Spence, man. Errol Spence was pretty much just wasting Sebastian Fundora's time. And, he came out on Twitter and said that he's going to come back when he feels like he's ready. So I guess he didn't feel like he was 100% ready to come back and fight Fundora. But listen, man, I think that'll be a dope scenario if we can get Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence, man. Hey, listen, if we can't get Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence, let's get Keith Thurman versus Jerron Boots Ennis, right? Jerron Boots Ennis has yet to really fight like an elite opponent. Like, obviously he fought Stanionis. I do think Stanionis at the time was the best at 147 before he lost to Jerron Boots Ennis. But Keith Thurman would also be a good fight for a Jerron Boots Ennis. So don't sleep on Keith Thurman, man. I'm pretty sure Keith Thurman is going to be the underdog in this fight, and if he is, I think that you guys should put money on Keith Thurman. Because Keith Thurman ain't, he's only the underdog due to inactivity. If we're talking about resumes, if we're talking about skill set, I think everybody would agree that a prime Keith Thurman is better than Sebastian Fundora. But there's questions that have to be answered, right? You got 6 years of inactivity. You took off 3 years in 2 separate occasions. That's ridiculous. And I don't blame anybody for picking Sebastian Fundora to win this fight. But if you're a betting man, right, you need to either pick Fundora to win this fight by KO, or you need to pick Keith Thurman to win this fight by decision, because he's going to be the underdog. So let me know who you guys got winning this fight, man. I'm rocking with Keith one-time Thurman on this fight. I'm not going to lie to y'all, man. I've been a Keith Thurman fan since he had the ponytail before he lost his hairline. So I'm not going to switch up now, man. He did lose me due to the inactivity and ducking Errol Spence. But, I think Keith Thurman is going to get the job done, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Make sure y'all subscribe, thumbs up the video, and most importantly, leave a comment. I'm out.